So we're looking at Cramer's rule. We found D. D is our coefficient matrix. It's not the augmented matrix. It doesn't have the constants in it. It's just 4, 3, negative 7, negative 5. So now let's look at where D sub x, and in this case we're going to have D sub x and D sub y to work with. Alright, so D sub x, we're going to take our coefficient matrix, and you'll notice here, these are the coefficients of x, these are the coefficients of y. So what we're going to do now is we're going to replace the coefficients of x with the constants from the equation. So instead of 4 and negative 7, we have 15 and negative 13. Okay? Now, the y's will stay there. We still have the 3 and negative 5. Okay, so there's our y's, there's our constant numbers. Alright?
How do you get 15 and negative 13?
15 and negative 13 come from right here. Those are our constants. So this tells you which column to replace. Okay, so we replace d sub y with, or d sub x, we replace the x column with the constants.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
If it said dy, we should change with y, right?
Yes. In fact, we need to find that here. So let's, if we're doing d sub y, the x column is going to be back, so we have the 4 and negative 7 back. Alright, but now we're replacing the y column, like you said, with those constants. So here we have the 15 and the negative 13. Okay? Now, the nice thing about doing this with 2x2s is that you guys can find the determinants of 2x2s really, really fast. Okay? So, for example, the determinant of D, we have negative 20 minus a negative 21, so plus 21, so the determinant of D equals 1.
Where'd you get the negative 20?
Well, we do 4 times negative 5 minus 3 times negative 7.
And you don't do anything about you don't do anything with dx and dy?
Not yet. Here we're just finding the determinant of D.
Right.
Notice that's what we're going to divide the determinants of dx and dy by. Okay? So now we need to find the determinant of dx. Alright? So the determinant of d sub x is 15 times negative 5 minus 3 times negative 13. So that's a negative 75 minus a negative, so plus 39. Okay? And that comes out to negative 36. Good. Then we have our last one, d sub y. The determinant is 4 times negative 13, so a negative 52, minus a negative 15 times 7,
105.
105, good. So that comes out to a positive 53, okay? So, I'll remove those so you can see the original. Alright, so we're mostly done here. Now it's just a matter of actually using Cramer's rule, okay? You look back at Cramer's rule, it says that x is the determinant of d sub x, a negative 36, over the determinant of d, which in this case happens to be 1. Alright? So x is negative 36. y, we're going to kind of follow the same pattern. We use the determinant of d sub y, so positive 53, over the determinant of d, which is 1, so that's just 53. Okay? So those are our solutions. And you can kind of see, I mean, we took our time doing it, but you can see once you get the hang of this, you can actually whip through systems of two equations with two unknowns pretty fast. Especially ones like this where if you tried to use elimination, you're going to have to multiply this by 7 and this by 4, or multiply this one by 5 and this one by 3, and then you're getting bigger numbers and whatnot. So, elimination would probably not be the best way of doing it this way, and certainly trying to do that one by substitution would be a real adventure in fractions, okay? Which we'd rather not take. So, this is a perfect case of one where it's a whole lot easier to use Cramer's rule, okay? Again, first time you've done it, so it may not be as clear, but it's, again, once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. So, let's try another one. Someone give me 3 numbers.
7,
2,
8.
7, 8, and 13, I heard. So let's make it a 7x minus 8y equals 13. And
38.
Oh, can you use this with more than like a system with 2 variables?
yes, we're going to look at 1, 3, and 3 here in a moment. It's particularly useful for 2 and 2. When you don't see a real easy way to do it by elimination or substitution, it's really nice for doing that. But it works for anything. So.
38.
38.
5.
38x plus 5y equals what? What? 209? Alright, so we're going to work on our arithmetic here. Okay, so I don't think, those aren't parallel, so we're going to have a solution. Alright, so let's go ahead and do it. D, by the way, here's the way you can save yourself a little bit of writing. We're going to find the determinant of D, so that's going to be the determinant of what matrix? 7, negative 8, 38, and 5. Okay? So you're finding your determinant. 35 minus a negative 8 times 38. That's going to be 240, 304?
Yeah.
No, 30.
Yeah,
Yes, 304. Okay? So that's 339.
Ooh.
Okay? So here's the deal. We already know x is going to equal something over 339, and y is going to equal something over 339. Okay? So, we just need to find what the determinant of d sub x and the determinant of d sub y are. Okay? So, you take a couple minutes and try to find those. One sec here. Yeah. That's what I got, and then you got 969? Unless I had it wrong.
That's what I got.
You got 969? Was it 1463 minus 474?
494.
494, that's what it is. Alright.
Will we just leave them over 339?
Well, you'd reduce if you could, okay? So d sub x, we're doing 13, negative 8, 209, and 5. And when you do that, you get 65 minus a negative 1672. So that's 1737. Okay? So when you have 1737 over 339, those are both actually divisible by 3. Okay? So you have 113 as your denominator. This was 579. Okay? So there's your x. You don't need to make that into a mixed number. You can leave it like that. And then y, d sub y, you're going to find the determinant of 7, 13, 38, 209. Okay, so you end up with 1463 minus 494, and you get 969. Okay? So 969, and that reduces 323 over 113. I think that's as far as that can go. So, okay. All right. Any questions? So no matter what the numbers are, no matter what the system is, Cramer's will work.
And using the switching the sign and switching where in DNA.
No, that's when you're solving using the inverse of a 2 by 2. Now, if you remember, the inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix included the determinant. It had that, and then you had, D, negative B, negative C, A. Okay? This is the only part we're using for Cramer's rule. Okay? Alright. Any other questions? Alright, so let's try it with a 3 by 3. Okay? And this would give us a little bit of practice finding 3 by 3's determinants by hand. Okay? We're going to try it by hand once, we'll try it with our calculator once, and see the difference. Okay? So first of all, you need to identify for this system what d, d sub x, d sub y, and d sub z are. And then you need to find their determinants as well. Okay? Now, notice here we have a third variable. So in d sub z, how are we going to make that? How do we form d sub z?
You replace the column with the constant.
Yeah, we're going to replace the negative 9, 2, and negative 8 with our constants, 26, negative 7, and 3. Okay, so it's the same process. We just have an extra one to work with now. So take a few minutes, try it. If you work with a partner, then you each only have to get 2. But find the determinant both by hand. Okay? Take the time to practice finding them by hand. Remember for the test, you can find your determinants whichever way you want. Okay? Same thing with finding the inverse. You can find it whatever method you want. Any other numbers are going to be a little big.
算3个，总共算4个。问题是这是负的。
Do be careful copying numbers down. Don't lose negatives.
Oh my god. Mistakes in the negative bathroom.
You said we could use our calculators for the other one. For like the determinant.
We're going to do another problem using your calculators for the determinants. which one is it? Mm-hmm.
I think DZ is negative 1
Is it? Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember. Couldn't remember if it was positive or negative. So.
I know. Oh, you're gonna answer. This two, right?
Okay, so check your answers as you get your determinants. These are what they ought to end up as. If you're not sure, if you're stuck and you're not sure how to get that, then feel free to ask. Just to review, I'll show both methods here. Okay. Plus 18.
I got different else. It's like that. I got less of 3 minus 21. I could wait. Wait.
What was it?
What?
I checked it. It was 808.
808. Yep. D and G Savoy are both 808. Okay. So that's one method. Remember using the minors and the cofactors. Don't forget if you're using this method, the middle one is subtracted. Okay?
It's
Oh,
n equals minus.
38.
Oh, 38. Negative 56 plus 18. Yeah, 38.
It's n equals minus.
Oh man. That's a mess up on my answer.
Alright. And by the way, if you're gonna miss one of them, don't miss D. Don't mess up D.
You
Okay?
don't want to screw up.
That's the one that impacts all the rest of them. So you don't wanna You don't want to mess up any of them, but definitely be extra careful on D. Alright, so there's D sub x. D sub z, doing it the other way. 3, 5, 26. And I'll copy the 3 and the 5. 4, 7, negative 7. I'll copy the 4 and the 7. And then 6, negative 9, 3. I'll copy the 6 and the negative 9. And then remember, you add the forward diagonals. So here's 3 times 7 times 3, that's 63. 5 times negative 7 times 6 is a minus 210. And then 26 times 4 times 9. Let's see, that's 104. 104 times negative 9 is going to be 1040 minus 104 is 936.
Oh.
36. Okay. Then you subtract the backwards diagonals. Okay, so here's a backwards diagonal, 5, 3, and 4. Alright, so that's a minus 60. Then we subtract the next one. 63 times 3 is 189. Okay. And then minus 26 times 7 times 6.
1092.
Would you get 1092?
Yeah.
Is that 1092? Okay. Alright, so that should come out to a negative 2424. Okay. So there's just a brief review of the two methods there. Okay. Now, all of that just to get us to where we can actually give our answers. All right, I'm going to put the answers up near the top here. Okay. So first of all, x. X equals negative 2 because it's a negative 1616 over 808. All right, d sub x over d, that's a negative 2. Then for y is 1 because d sub y is 808 over d, we've got 1, and then z, okay? Z is negative 2424 over 808, and what does that equal?
Negative 3.
Negative 3, there we go. Okay? So these ones came out nicely. Alright.
Sorry.
Big numbers, but it comes out nicely in the end. So.
Oh, yes.
Alright, any questions or anything about using this with 3x3s? I think the most challenging part we already learned, finding the determinant. Then it's just a matter of writing your ratio. Okay. Alright, now, what I want to look at is a second, another example here. Let me get to where we can see it. We have this system of equations. X minus 3y minus 2z equals 9. 3x plus 2y plus 6z equals 20. And then 4x minus y plus 3z equals 25. Alright, and what I want to do, I'm going to show how to do this on the TI-84 first. Then, while you guys are finishing figuring out exactly how to do it, then I'll show how to do it on the Nspire, because it takes about a third of the time on the Nspire as it does on the 84. Okay? So, I'm going to assume you guys know how to enter a matrix at this point. Okay? So, we hit second matrix. we go over here to edit. We need to enter a 3 by 3 for our coefficient matrix first, okay? Now, one thing I am going to have you guys do, and this you don't absolutely have to do, but I think it's easiest. We're going to enter our coefficient matrix in here first. So 1, -3, -2, okay, and then we have 3, 2, and 6, and then we have 4, and -1, and 3. Okay, so there's our coefficient matrix. When you're finished entering stuff into a matrix, make sure you hit quit. Alright, so we hit quit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 more copies of this. Alright, so watch how we can do that. It's actually a pretty simple process. We hit second matrix. There's the one we just entered. I'm going to hit enter on that. And then remember our store button, STO. Okay, I'm going to hit that and the little arrow shows up. Hit second matrix again, and I'm going to put that in matrix B.
Where's the store button?
STO is right kind of next to 1 and 4. Alright, we hit enter, and now we just copied A into B. Then we're going to do the same thing to copy it into C and D as well. Alright, so second matrix, A, STO, second matrix, C, store it in that. You can even use entry if you want. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, now what makes this a little bit more challenging, and this is why I recommend doing this way on the 84, is that you don't actually see the matrix you're working with when you're doing the calculations. Okay, you just see A or B or C or D. The Inspire, you can see the whole thing, and that's part of what makes it a lot faster. It's also a lot easier to copy and paste on there. So now we have our 4 matrices. All right. However, I need to make D sub x, D sub y, and D sub z. So I'm going to go over here and edit. I'm going to leave A as my coefficient matrix. So I'm going to edit number 2. I'm going to make this D sub x. So I need to replace the x column with our constants, 9, 20, and 25. So 9, 20, and 25. And now we hit quit. And we've got D sub x in B. Alright? So now we're going to edit C. That's going to be our D sub y. So I need to replace the y column with my constants. 9, 20, whoop. Need to hit down. That's -2. Okay, that's 20, and that's 25. Okay? So again, we hit quit. So now we have D sub y stored in C. So now we're going to go back to matrix. We're going to edit the 4th one, make that our D sub z. Okay? So 9, 20, and 26. Okay? 25. Yeah. Make it interesting. There we go. 25. And again, we hit quit. So now it's just a matter of finding the determinants. Really, entering the matrices into your memory is the most time-consuming part of this. Because now we can hit second matrix, and notice the math menu. We hit the right arrow once. The first option there is DET. That's determinant. So we hit enter. Then second matrix, we're going to pick A. Hit enter again, and we got -11. Okay? Now, if you have an 83 or an 84, take a couple minutes here and find the other 3, and then use Cramer's rule. Okay? Just follow the steps there. Okay? Yeah.
I don't get these two all.
Just if you go into edit, just hit enter on one of those and change the dimensions. No, not. Go over to edit and then go down there, hit enter. Change the dimensions to 3 by 3, and you can just type right over it.
But if I wanted to do that, because one I have something in B.
No, it'll let you. It'll overwrite B. Yeah.
Sorry.
If you do A store B, it'll overwrite whatever's in B. Okay. Was it giving you like a dimension error or
I don't
something?
know what are we doing.
Okay. All right. So we have that for the 84. Let's take a look at the end spire. Okay. There we go. We'll zoom in here. Okay. All right, so if you've got the end spire, we'll get this thing to focus. Sometimes get the glare off. We got to kind of come at it at an angle. There we go. Let's try focusing again. Okay, so you can do this right in Scratchpad, but to do your determinant, the function's name is DET, just like on the 83 and 84, but you can just type it in. Okay, so we're going to type in DET in a document or Scratchpad, it doesn't matter. Okay, so DET and then put parentheses, and now it's looking for a matrix. Okay, so if you guys remember, to enter your matrix, you hit the brackets, and then you hit brackets again to enter each row into. Alright, so in this set of brackets, we're going to put in the 1, -3, -2. Go out of those brackets and then put another set of brackets for the second row. 1, 2, 6. Next set of brackets for the third row, we have, oh wait a sec, hang on. Not 1, 2, 6, 3, 2, 6. And then 4, -1, and 3. Okay? So you notice it translates that into a matrix from the brackets, and then also we found the determinant, and it comes out to -11. Okay? Now, the nice thing about the end spire, which is why we don't have to store it and copy it and all that stuff, is because now that I have that, I'm just going to hit the up arrow twice to highlight that, and I'm going to hit enter, and now I can just use my arrow to come over here, and because I can see it right there, it's easy to edit. So I'm going to replace the X column with my 9, 20, and 25. And those of you with the 83s and 84s, did you get -22 as your determinant for d sub x?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now we know that x is 2. Yeah, -22 over -11 would be 2. So now to do d sub y, one thing, those of you with the end spires, make sure when you go to copy the original one, not the d sub x, because it's real easy to forget to put the original x column back in.
How do you copy that?
All right, just hit the up arrow until it's highlighted, and then we hit enter.
Okay.
And it'll copy it down here. Now I'm going to replace this middle column with the 9, the 20, and the 25. And did you guys all get 5?
55, yeah.
55? 55 for your determinant, which gives you -5 for y. Okay, you got it?
I used the algebra and solved the whole system.
Oh,
Linear equations.
nice. Okay, then we go back up. We go back up to the original coefficient matrix. We're gonna get rid of that. Put in a 9, 20. Don't start chatting, please. And we get -44. Okay? So, guys, listen. For the test, you need to be able to use your calculator. So, practice. For the non-calculator part, am I going to ask you to find the determinant of a 3x3 matrix? Yes. Okay? On the calculator portion, however, if I ask you to solve a system with Cramer's rule, don't go finding all your determinants by hand. Okay? You learn how to use the tools that you have available. Alright? So that's how you will do it using the calculator. Okay? This is what it looks like when you're all done. Okay? Those are your matrices and the determinants. Sorry, they're lousy images, but that's the best it can do. Alright, yeah.
Mr. Jin, can you come here?
Oh, you know what? You used. See how you use those curly brackets? You just want to use the regular parentheses. Yeah, I think once you have them in that curly braces, it's, you're gonna have to read.
Yeah, but I tried the normal one. Yeah, but it doesn't work. Also,
You tried what?
I tried to use this one. Let me do it again.
Right here.
Parentheses. Yeah, and now use the brackets. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing? Hang on, I'll help you in a minute, okay? Alright, so one last thing here. X is -22 over -11, so that's 2. Y is 55 over -11, so that's a -5. Z is a -44 over -11, so we get a +4. Okay? Alright, any questions about the process here? Make sense? Okay. Now, what we're going to do for the remainder of this time, okay, I want you to get some practice doing these both ways, alright? So, here are two systems. I want you to practice. You can work with somebody, but when you're getting your determinants, I want you to get them by hand for 21 and 22. 27 and 28 are application problems, okay? When you're finding determinants for these, go ahead and use your calculator, okay? So I'm going to let you guys get started on that, and we'll work out what we need to work out.